Hello, I'm Dr. Gloria Horsley.
And I'm her daughter, Dr. Heidi Horsley.
Heidi and I want to welcome you to Open to Hope Conversations, the podcast.
We believe that the greatest gift you can give yourself after a loss is hope, using this moment to connect with others who have not only survived but thrived.
So let's get started. Welcome to the Open to Hope Show. I'm your host, Dr. Gloria Horsley, with my daughter, Dr. Heidi Horsley. Well, good morning, Heidi. We've got a great guest on the show, a good friend and somebody who has done so much service for the world, haven't we?
Yes, we have somebody that we've both worked very closely with who is really, really changing the world and helping so many families out there that have had loss. So we're talking today with Debbie Ford Dullabaun. Debbie is the president of the board of directors for the Compassionate Friends. We work together on the board and serve together on the board. She has done so much for the organization. She has been involved in so many ways. She's been a regional coordinator. She's served on the board, as I said. Now she's the president of the board of directors for the Compassionate Friends. She was the chair for the Diversity Commission. She has led the way in so many ways in trying to increase diversity in our organization and just be a leader and bring hope to so many, Mom. And, you know, she started out on this journey after her 6-year-old son, Dale Lee Dullabaun III, died. And at that time, she was a full-time mother, devoting her life to raising him. Since that time, she has worked in his memory and served the Los Angeles Police Department and the Domestic Abuse Center, and she is a victim advocate trainer. She is doing a lot of service, and our show today is on finding joy again in service. Welcome to the show, Debbie.
Thank you for having me. I'm glad to be here.
So great to have you on. We love you so much. You're such an inspiration to the world and everyone. And I do want to mention, this is very painful. Dale was your only child.
Yes.
And I know that there are so many people who just wonder how people go on and how they find joy again. And I think you have been through that trail and you've done so much to help other people.
Thank you. It wasn't easy. It started out by accident. I was a full-time mom and it was the best job ever. I thought I wanted to go back after I had him. I thought, like, I'm just going to, stay home for about 6 months and then, I'll go back to work. Before I left the hospital, I don't remember this, and this is my husband's story, Dale Jr.'s story, that I stated to him one day. He was walking out the hospital before we were released, and I said to him, I'm not going to go back to work, so you better figure it out. So we're going to have to live off one salary. And we just bought a house, so, it was all of these things. And so he said he walked out, with his head spinning, but I don't remember this, so this is his story, but I never went back to work. I stayed home with Dale. He fulfilled me beyond me. It was just it was a mommy's job, and that's the name he gave it. So, and a mommy's job was being a mommy. Then at one time when he was I'll say about 3 years old, I kind of thought, like, maybe I'll go back to work because he's in school. Maybe I'll just go for a little bit. And so he says, well, and Dale, my husband, and I were talking, and he's, playing on the floor with his trains. And he goes, well, you can get a mommy's job. And I was like, well, what's a mommy's job? And he goes, well, you have to take me to school, take me to see my friends, take me to the train places, and pick me up at daycare, but I can't be the last kid. And so I said, well, that's kind of like what I do now. So then I thought, like, you know what, I'm just going to stay because I've already been given my instructions. So, and I am so glad that, I made that decision. Dale made the decision. Dale decided to get an office near our house so that, he could work, close by and then go out and see his clients so that, he could come home and bathe him at night. So being a mom is like was the best thing ever. So,
now, however, you are still a mom. I want people who are listening to this to know that you are still a mom.
Yes, I am just not the active mom I want to be, but that's why I will always answer to Dale's mom because that is the best name ever. So I'm just not the active mom I want to be, but I'm a mom. I'm always going to be his mom. And, I love him more as every day passes by. And I don't know how that's possible because, you think the person has to be here to love, but I love him more every day.
I remember talking to Debbie and Dale and knowing that you were brought to your knees and feeling like my life has been destroyed.
Yes.
And
I
to
was,
be in that space and now see you as a leader in so many places, including Compassionate Friends, it is a pretty unbelievable story.
I was literally brought to my knees.
Yeah.
My son was always considered healthy, and his death was an instant thing that happened. I didn't know what to do. I have to confess, I didn't have a plan, but many days I thought about getting on top of my roof and jumping off head first. Because I just didn't, what am I going to do? What's my purpose? I had a strong faith and God abandoned me. So I was a mess. If you can, any kind of mess, I was a mess.
Mm-hmm.
And that lasted for about 2 to 3 years. We traveled a lot, but then after, being at home, our house became like this mausoleum. It was so, quiet and nothing. And I needed something. So I thought I'll go to the American Red Cross and see what I can do. So I went and I started volunteering 2 days a week, 4 hours, 10 to 2. That was as much as I could do. And starting there because I had to get out of my headspace. And that was the thing. I had to get beyond, me. And then I realized slowly, I'm starting to work 5 days a week. It allowed me to see that I could do things and there were other people, and like doing something outside of yourself and getting out of that, your headspace of, and trying to, just sit your pain aside just for a minute or two made a difference. And I needed that. I needed to be able to do that. Then I realized that this is a mommy's job now. So I just kept going at that. And then there was a lady who came in one day looking for some help in regarding domestic violence, which Red Cross doesn't provide, but they provide a card with numbers on it. And I took the card and stuck it in my pocket and tried to get into a class for a couple of years, and, it was always full. And finally they got tired of me and put me in the class. Like, I registered in October for the next July class. And just going there and seeing that there's some people that are really hurting and they're not on this journey, the one that, I'm on, but that didn't negate their pain. Their pain was really, really real. And if I could be any kind of thing, an ear to listen. So if I could write the sentence for them or something. So it just became important to me. Like, this is what I'm supposed to do. We discussed, maybe should I get a job for pay? And Dale was like, you're not going to be happy. And he was right. So this is where, my journey took me. And I've always believed we're not here just for ourselves. We're supposed to help people. I just didn't know it would come in this manner. So just, one thing led to another. And, when you see people hurting, you know what it feels like. And so if you think like, well, if I could just, be kind to them, they'll hurt a little bit less. And maybe, I was like, I'm not thinking about my pain. So that's kind of cool. Like, and believe you me, I have my days. I have my days where I have complete temper tantrums and I fall apart. But it's so much better helping someone. And I'm not saying it's going to happen overnight for some people, but just a little bit, if you just go, and I even say to people, like, go to Starbucks and sit down and talk to a lonely person.
I love it.
I like that.
Just about the weather, the flowers, nothing serious.
I like, Debbie, that you started out small. You went to the Red Cross and started out small. Like you said, you can start out very small. You can go to Starbucks. How did you get involved with the Compassionate Friends?
We knew about the Compassionate Friends because Steve Parker, who's on the board, is a friend of ours. And we knew them prior to being a part of Compassionate Friends. So his daughter, Alyssa, died. So we knew about it. It is for parents, grandparents, and brothers and sisters who have suffered the loss of a child, a grandchild, or your brother and sister. You can be overwhelmed. I was overwhelmed walking in the door. There was a room full of people. My first thought was like, they're all here for the same thing. This is not going to be good. And I was one of the people when they said, you don't have to talk and you can sit for a couple of months. I couldn't get out of that building fast enough. And swore, I am never going back there. And Dale went, and we agreed, that we would allow one another to do what each needed to do. So he went back, and then finally it's like, I needed a place to go because I was getting those questions about you can have another child, and all these things, and blah, blah, blah. And it's like, okay. And aren't you over him yet? Excuse me, those kind of things.
Yeah.
So it's like, okay, I need to go someplace. And, Dale told me, like, it's a safe place. And, yeah, it's full of tears. And he goes, but there's some joy in some people have. And I was like, how can people be happy like that? But he goes, there is. He goes, they tell stories about their kids, and I'm like, are their brother or their sister, their grandchild. And so I went back, and it took me a while before I started talking. But then I saw that, you might think that, like, this is kind of cool. Like, here's a place. These are my people. Kind of like, this is my tribe. Like, I belong here. And they extended their hands to me, and their boxes of tissue to me, and they encouraged me, like, to, yay, one of us is trying to, one of us is, making a move, or, so it was just the compassion, the tears, the love, the hugs, the cookies, the coffee, all of those things that just, it endeared me. It's like, this is a place I can go. So then I became like, I need a Compassion Friends. I need one every day. I need a place to go every day for, Compassion Friends to, talk to people or just sit there and listen. Yeah. So it just became this life-saving place. It's like, okay, because I needed to be saved. Little Dale's paternal grandparents, they got involved because it was a place for them. They, their friends didn't understand, like, aren't you guys, you should be, Dale and Debbie look like they're doing better. Aren't you guys better? It's like, it's like, they were smiling yesterday, like, but they needed a place to go, and they had no, their contemporaries hadn't, traveled that journey. So the Compassionate Friends was a place for them. So they got, at one point, they were more involved than I was. They were, heavily involved. They're still involved, but it was the place for them and what they could find. So they learned some tools and things, and it made their lives a lot richer.
Local chapters, but the national conference is really amazing, and I would recommend anybody who's sibling loss. Isn't it fabulous, Heidi?
It is. It absolutely is. The sibling program is really strong.
Yes, and growing, which is sad but great, for the support.
Yeah.
My first conference was a regional conference in Scottsdale, Arizona, and we just heard about it, like, I don't know how we heard about it, but decided we're going to go, and if we don't like it, we'll just leave and go to another hotel and relax. There is the first time I met Darcy Sims, and I was a mess. I was a complete mess at this conference because I was thinking, like, what are we going to do here? And when she told me to remember that he lived, a light bulb went off.
That's powerful.
And it's like, yes, it's because I was stuck in, like, he had died and he's gone. I was stuck there. I couldn't get out of that. Like, how, this was horrible. But I forgot that he lived, and the joy, because just the pain took over. And I learned at that regional conference there. So we came back home, Dale and I, and we were excited, and we told his parents, oh, you have got to go. Our first conference was in Salt Lake City. That was our first national conference. And it was an overwhelming, great experience, if that makes any sense. It was overwhelming, but everyone came together. The breakout sessions, the sharing sessions, the workshops, the information, and the places you got to vent and cry and learn things.
Now tell us about how we find you or the Compassionate Friends online.
www.compassionatefriends.org.
Okay.
That is the website address. I am on there. My email address is on there. My email address also is Dale's mom, TCF, the Compassionate Friends, SC, Southern California, @yahoo.com. I just want to say again, the Compassion Friends, it is life-saving. My mother has only been able to attend one conference, but she says in her daily prayers, she is grateful because it saved my life. And she said, I was afraid I was going to lose my daughter. And there's a train.
I know, that's the second time I've heard it. And it reminds me of little Dale because I know he loved train. I feel like it's amazing. I keep hearing this. I'm like, okay, a little sign, Debbie. A sign from your son, seriously.
So Debbie, what I'm really hearing from you is that your service is your mommy job now.
Yes, it is.
And I love that. And thank you so much for being on the show today.
Thank you for having me.
So delightful. And thank you for all the wonderful service you're doing.
Thank you. Thank you for, I got a chance to meet you all. Like, this is great. I mean, in the pain, I made some great friends. And
yeah, it is true.
It's been amazing. And I love that little Dale said to you, Mommy, you've got to help the people, because you have certainly devoted your life to helping the people in his honor and in his memory. So thank you so much, Debbie, for everything you're doing.
You're welcome.
Yeah.
Thank you for having me.
And I know that people that are watching this and listening to it are inspired by Debbie's story. If you feel like you're not going to get through it, just listen to this story and learn how Debbie has done it. It's been an amazing story. And Heidi and I want to remind you all that if you've lost hope, please lean on ours until you find your own, and God bless.
I'm Dr. Heidi Horsley. You have been listening to Open to Hope, the podcast. You can follow Open to Hope on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. To learn more, visit us at opentohope.com and go to Apple Podcasts to subscribe.
I'm Dr. Gloria Horsley. Join us again next week for another Open to Hope conversation, where we invite you to lean on our hope until you find your own.